Welcome to the holiday week episode of Soccerheads New England, and we've got a very special podcast for a very special holiday. Former player with the Michigan Stars to talk about what it's like for a young player to try to advance in pro soccer. And we're going to, since we've got him here, he'll give his perspective on some soccer topics representing all of Gen Z for us. We've got Bryant Nardizzi, and if that name sounds familiar, it might be because he's Paul Nardizzi's son. That's right. When we look for our special holiday episodes, we bring in Paul's son, the one that he likes, Bryant, not the other ones. Anyway, yeah, so you grew up as Bryant. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Paul, you're Paul's eldest son?
Yes.
And your eldest son, and you escaped that torture to play college soccer, and now you're carving out a career in professional sports. Is that right?
That's right.
And now I know what you're thinking. At this point, you're probably thinking to yourself, I drove an hour for this, and the only thing I can tell you is that it will be like another hour, and then the ride home, and then it will be over, and that'll probably be the highlight for the whole day for you. You know, yeah, all right. It's like talking to Paul. He just looks at me, and all right, fine. I'm Dave Rattigan, formerly an award-winning journalist, comedian, and expert on all things. Paul Nardizzi and Jim Ruberti are my co-hosts. And Brian, I'm gonna read from the script for a while, and you'll think, why is he doing all the talking? And then your dad and Jim will start talking, and you'll understand.
By the way, you keep saying award-winning journalists, and there's a lot of fraudulent activity on the internet. So Jim and I are going to have to insist on seeing those awards at some point.
Sure,
yes,
sure. Come to
no hurry. I know it takes time to make them, but
yeah, the one you showed us in crayon is just we don't believe it anymore.
Yeah. All right, you guys are welcome to come in. Usually, I keep them in the bedroom. But
the quietest room in your house. Excellent.
I know that our listener would appreciate it if you could validate the award-winning journalist part.
All right, I'll be happy to do that. Check us out on soccerheadsnewengland.com, our Facebook page, or email us at soccerheadsnewengland@gmail.com. And if you like this podcast, please share it, because we're trying to build up our listenership as much as we can, because right now, we're working on it. We're new. Brian, we're going to talk to you a little bit about your pro career, about growing up as Paul's son. And I know you're not going to want to give up anything because you're afraid of the beating you'll take after the show. But he's got such a quiet laugh. It's great. It's like I tell a joke and he laughs, but you can't hear it. You can see him, but he's laughing. It's
Dave
a
says
lot
that
like
about most of his shows. You say the same thing. It must be the same crowd that
thanks for jumping on my punchline, Jim.
Oh, sorry.
Let's plug.
That was easy.
Let's plug our sponsors first. Soccerheads New England is sponsored by financial advisor Rick Spencer, 978-857-7573. Paul, I talked to Rick today.
I want to have Rick on as a guest.
And he mentioned you.
I want to have him on as a guest.
Why?
I don't need him to speak. We can do the show, and he can sit in the other room and just look at my portfolio and maybe tinker with it. Who's taken a beating in the last few days? So
I know.
I want Rick to come in. But what did he say about me?
Nothing.
Oh, because I mention him every week.
I know.
And his initials are important, too, because I've
RS?
looked for signs. So RS, those are two important letters in the financial world, revenue and savings.
Yep.
My initials are PN, poverty-stricken, and needy. So I think I want to get with Rick.
Anyway, back to this, 978-857-7573. Yeah, Rick will come whenever you do your podcast and look through your portfolio and give you great advice. He speaks at free seminars for soccer clubs, youth leagues, and the public, and he'll help you get your kid into college, athlete or not. As you know, Rick is also my financial advisor, and he's the reason that I was able to give up my part-time job as a nude model at art schools, and just in time because the weather is getting cold. To have Rick come speak to your club, team, league, or group, or to check out one of his free seminars in your area, call him at 978-857-7573.
You spent as much effort on your routine as you do the weekly Rick Spencer joke.
This is important to me. This is important to me.
It was very well written.
Close shows.
Huh?
You could actually close some shows legitimately if you spent a little more time on your act and not the Rick Spencer jokes.
Oh, I'll consider that, Paul. I'll consider that as I do all of your suggestions. Also, if your organization needs to raise money and you want to have a great time doing it, you should hire the Soccerheads Experience. It's more than a comedy show. It's an event that your community will never forget with soccer-themed humor and giveaways and all kinds of extras. Want to make money and have some fun? Email soccerheadsnewengland@gmail.com. Jim Ruberti will answer your email, and we'll make your life so much better. That's soccerheadsnewengland@gmail.com. So let's get to the topics. Brian, you're 24 years old.
Yep.
You played for the Michigan Stars, which is an outdoor team. It's in a league. Tell me about the league you're in.
The league is called NISA. It's on the third tier of the U.S. soccer professional pyramid. So we go MLS, USL Championship, and then third tier would be NISA as well as USL 1.
Okay. How many people go to a typical game?
It depends. Could be a few hundred, could be a couple thousand.
A few hundred or a
not too
couple
many.
thousand. Okay. And it's
Depends on the venue.
And it's NISA.
Correct.
Okay.
NISA.
National Independent Soccer Association.
NISA, coincidentally, was my mantra in Transcendental Meditation.
Really?
No, I just made that up, but it sounds like a mantra in Transcendental Meditation. Do you do Transcendental Meditation?
No.
Let me give you some advice. Close your eyes. Repeat that word over and over. NISA, NISA, NISA. And eventually you'll fall asleep. All right, so
Just like Rattigan. Have the same
other
results.
people fall asleep. Yeah. Anyway, right now you're rehabbing something. You've got an injury.
Yeah, I had a surgery on, they're trying to get rid of the term, but sports hernia and chronic groin pain I had.
Chronic groin pain. All right, I'm going to ignore that one.
Bryant, you just put that on a tee for him. You should have just said something else. North of my knee hurts is what you should have said.
Yeah.
And I know this too. I know you're college. Are you a graduate? You're college educated, and I know that you rival me for the number of colleges you've gone to.
Yeah.
Is it 4 or is it 5? It's 5 colleges,
Technically
right?
5, yeah.
No, it's 5.
It's 5.
Just so you know, it's not technically 5. It's 5. It's not literally 5. It's 5.
Yeah.
And NC State, UNC Wilmington, Brandeis, and Framingham State, plus Mass Bay Community College. You took some classes there to kind of get there quickly. Mm-hmm. And you were in a situation, I think. Well, yeah. Let me ask you this, because I know some other people it's happened to. You go to a school, and maybe you've been recruited, or maybe they just like you, and you go to a school, and then they change coaches, and your goose is cooked.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what happened with me at NC State. I was brought in by the staff that had been there for 6 years, and we didn't make the NCAA tournament. And I wasn't aware that that was like their final straw. If we didn't make the tournament that year, they were out. So after the ACC tournament game, we lost in the locker room. They told us they were out, and then I stuck around for one more semester and then moved on. But yeah,
They were out, being the coaches were out.
yeah,
Okay, and so you get a new coach, and I mean this is where you were in scholarship.
yeah,
Okay, this is where scholarship athletics is. It's a little brutal to kids. I mean, they're telling you, we want you to give us your life, come to our school, blah 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 blah. We're going to make you a better person, and then you get then you learn about maybe there's a little hypocrisy in that statement, and all of a sudden there's a new regime and you're not wanted.
Yeah.
And this happens to all kinds of kids who are scholarship athletes in Division I, and not just in the hotbed schools, but any school is Division I, and some schools are Division III. There's a new coach, and your goose is cooked, as I said. So you went to another school?
I did. I ended up going to UNC Wilmington, which was about 2 hours away from where I already was.
And you were at NC State was D1. Mm-hmm. UNC Wilmington?
Also D1.
Okay, so you were able to go D1.
Yeah.
How were you able to do that? NCAA rules permit.
You're
I
allowed
know people.
I would think knowing people would get them would be why I wound up at community
No,
college.
you're allowed one transfer within D1.
Oh, okay. You just can't keep going. All right. So then UNC Wilmington, what happened there?
Basically, I mean, I'm more of an attacking mid, forward, and I mean, I shit you not, in training, I was never given one rep as a forward.
Why would they bring you in and not use you?
I don't know.
Okay, that's another
Yeah.
reality of Division I soccer.
So it just wasn't a good fit after one semester, and then decided to leave.
Okay, and then you went to Brandeis, and then eventually, and because you couldn't go to another Division I school,
Yeah.
so you went to Brandeis, you played there, and then Framingham State, And at Brandeis, I assume, well, that's a pretty good school.
Yeah,
Brandeis. How'd you do in the classroom?
I did okay.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying. 5 schools.
What's interesting about UNC Wilmington?
Yeah.
Got 2 goalies there. It was that team's coached, I believe, by a former goalie
Yeah.
Okay.
who played for the Revs. I think their very first year.
Okay.
I played for a goalie in college, and I didn't like it either because goalies.
goalies.
We hate you.
Goalies.
No,
We hate all of you.
as a player, I love you, but as coaches, I find they're very like Brad Friedel, very defensive minded. I feel like
100%.
he's more of a dribbler and a
100%.
So because that's
Yeah.
what they know. They know.
Let's keep the ball out of my box. Yeah. That's what we know.
And by dribbler, do you mean his personal habits?
That too. Yeah.
Okay.
All my kids are dribblers.
Right. We're going to get back to your. All right. So then you got then you wound up at Framingham State. In between, you took Mass Bay Community College, or
No,
was
Mass
that-
Bay was actually at the beginning when I was
Okay.
playing for the New England Revolution Academy.
Wow, you played for the academy? Wow. Does mom know this? I got
How
to
long-
take some notes. I
Yeah.
barely see this kid.
I know.
The
I asked how old you were. He
Academy.
didn't know.
Sweet.
Yeah.
We were talking today earlier, and I said, "How old's the kid?" He goes, "I don't know."
Oh, I have a question for you. You went to UNC Wilmington after NC State.
Correct.
You must have played against NC State then.
Yep.
How did you do against your former team? You must have been on a little
I didn't
tilt.
play.
You didn't play you.
No, because he was dribbling.
You were too busy dribbling.
I remember you telling me that was when he left NC.
Oh no, I did play that game actually.
You
No,
did
I
play
did.
that.
Yeah, I'm just remembering. I started that game.
You must have loved that.
Yeah, I was thrilled. The first 30 minutes, I started, played really well, and then he never put me back in.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Did you at least beat NC State that day?
But I remember you telling me, so when he left, he wasn't sure if he was going to play for the new coach or not.
Yeah.
Sort of getting mixed vibes. So he left. And then when he played them, he looked out and he realized a lot of the guys that were out there, he had been ahead of. They took a chance and stayed, and they were out there, and he felt like, oh, I maybe should have stayed
Oh,
instead of playing for the goalie.
you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
You
Yeah.
don't.
Should never play for a goalie. Is that what you're saying? Unless you're a
Well, Arena's a
fullback.
goalie, but he's an attack. He coaches
Okay.
attacking soccer. Everyone's different.
Fine.
Dave can get into. You played for Framingham High School, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, so you played Framingham High School, then you went to NC State, then North Carolina, then Wilmington, and then Bryant.
Brandeis.
You would have been funny if you went to Bryant, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have
Well,
been
actually
funny.
pretty
That's why he didn't go. That's why he didn't go.
Exactly.
He didn't want to deal with that kind of pressure.
Brandeis has always had a phenomenal soccer program.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, they had been to back-to-back Final Four appearances before I got there, and then new coach when I was there, and we didn't make the tournament.
So let me get this straight. Back to back before you got there.
Yep.
Then they didn't make it. Did you ever think that the North Carolina State thing was probably forecasting your career? Just
Maybe.
teasing.
No, I
Just
know.
teasing.
Yeah, that's
Not
a nice
saying
thing
it's
to
your
say.
fault. Don't
Nice
get
thing to
personal and
say.
go walk out into the traffic now.
Here's the guy trying to rehab his groin, and you're making him miserable.
Who said anything about groin?
Just re-injured it.
I
Who
got
said
a,
anything about groin?
I got a question. Brian. So you went to Framingham. I wasn't going to get into this because it seems like minutia, but you went to Framingham High School. You played there.
Yeah.
Do you think your father knew that you played at Framingham High School?
Yeah.
He did.
I was an assistant. Actually, he played against Crowell in a playoff game. We got knocked out.
Really? Was that
Yeah,
the
I was
time that you were
assistant coach.
throwing apples at Kroll on the sidelines?
Should have been.
So, but here's an important thing for soccer kids that could be listening. You're playing for Framingham.
No interest in us.
You're Framingham High School. How did you end up even? Did NC State recruit you from Framingham High School? We want to talk about a lot of high school kids. We talked about how high school kids can get into colleges and how they get recruited and everything. How did you end up at NC State and playing?
So I was playing club soccer while I was playing at Framingham High School, and a lot of it was my own work. A lot of it was my club coach. Basically, just I would spend hours writing letters to coaches that I knew would be at events, like showcases, tournaments, league games that we would have, and I would just express interest in the school, give them my schedule, send them a highlight tape. Yeah, I was down at the Disney showcase in Florida, and the associate head coach came and watched me play for like 25 minutes, spoke to my head coach after, said he was interested. And then what really pushed them over the edge was I knew I probably wasn't quite ready for the ACC coming right out of high school. So I took a gap year and spent an extra year with the New England Revolution Academy and then went to NC State.
So you think, in your experience, if you were sitting here and there